Gonna tear up the crown.
Okay, so you probably missed it if you had anything better to do this weekend, but there were No Kings protests staged across the country. And by anything better to do, I am referring to literally almost any human activity you could imagine. Um, Mopping, watching paint dry, drinking coffee. And any of these things would be a better use of your time than going to a No Kings protest. Unfortunately, I was at one. I was surveying the scene, and I can tell you firsthand that there were a lot of costumes. There were a lot of older people there. The crowd skewed like I would say the mean age was probably 65 or 70. There was one woman I saw who I mean, she looked like she was on dialysis. Like they had just wheeled her out of the hospital. And luckily for us, there were plenty of videos captured at the scene of the protests, so you can enjoy the cringe without, smelling the smells that were also there at the protests. So let's watch this one of some dancing people and a unicorn.
DHS! Get FEMA out of DHS! Get FEMA out of DHS! Gnomes photo ops do not impress! Gnomes photo ops do not impress! Get FEMA out of DHS! Get FEMA out of DHS! Louder! Get FEMA out of DHS! Get FEMA out of DHS! Okay, thank you. Very good. Our DHS. Get FEMA out of.
I love that moment when the camera changes shots and you can tell that there are just like 10 people there. And you can already sort of tell that from the initial chant just because not that many people are echoing it. But by the way, that unicorn and other costumes like that are going to be a consistent theme throughout. There were a lot of people there in inflatable costumes. I saw unicorns. I saw dinosaurs. The best one I saw, and I don't totally understand how this relates to Trump or the monarchy in general, the concept of a monarchy, was an inflatable Jeff Koons statue, like that, like that shiny balloon animal dog. Someone was dressed as that. I feel like maybe this was just lefty Halloween. Like people just wanted an excuse to dress up and do something fun and like semi-outrageous. Of course, this is not like you basically could not do something that is more in line with institutional power. The Trump administration accepted, and that's a big exception, granted, but like, these people think of themselves as radicals crusading against the man, when it's like this is perfectly in line with what the New York Times envisions as the face of resistance. This is perfectly in line with what people like Nancy Pelosi want you to do. And speaking of Nancy Pelosi, yes, we have a video of Nancy Pelosi beautifully and bravely breaking the crown in half. So let's watch that. All right, so you have Nancy Pelosi dressed in yellow. That was the official color of the protest because they're definitely not staging the color revolution or anything. But she has a tiara and she's going to break it.
Gonna tear up the crown. Gonna tear up the crown.
She actually kind of looks proud of herself. Like, I don't really think of Nancy Pelosi as someone with feelings, or really any human emotion. Maybe jealousy, maybe spite, maybe envy, but she looks happy. I don't know. She's getting older, so sometimes that does happen. When people enter their twilight years, they get a new perspective on life, and maybe they can laugh a little bit more. But Nancy Pelosi actually fits right in with the No Kings crowd. Like I said, it was mostly older people. You had some Gen Xers bringing their kids there, but on the whole, this was not a protest event, you know, by the youth, for whatever that's worth. The crowd was basically, I think, people who grew up watching protests and marches on TV and seeing them in the New York Times, and people who really think that, yes, if we dress up in costumes and hold signs, that is going to get something done. All right, so we also had dancing. Yes, we had lots of dancing. You can see that we have people in yellow, just like Nancy. So at the risk of singeing your eyeballs from secondhand embarrassment, let's watch this dance.
There ain't no king, ain't no king in the USA. We're rising up. He ain't God, he ain't no fool. No matter what he says, he says he's mad. We won't say not today, not today. 'Cause there ain't no king in the USA.
I love seeing the last of the COVIDians in these clips, just those people wandering around with the face masks. Everyone looks kind of uncomfortable here in this video. I don't know if that's just me, but they look like they are kind of looking around at each other like, hey guys, is this the right thing to do? You know, or am I on beat? Do I have the choreography right? Am I sufficiently joyful in my expression? And the answer is no. You should go home. On the other hand, I mean, you know, it's good that they're exercising. And again, like I said with the Halloween thing, I think a lot of these protests are just an excuse for leftists to kind of get together and have fun. Like, they're not really allowed to have fun. There's a lot of TV shows they can't watch. There's a lot of books they can't read. Just, you know, like, they can't really have fun. There's a lot of things they're barred from doing. They can't make certain jokes. They probably can't read any book that was written before 1950. Not sufficiently sensitive. You know, they didn't have sensitivity readers back then. And so I think they just want an excuse to get out of their houses and have some fun and talk with people. And it's sad that this is the only venue that they feel able to do that in. And you'll notice that a lot of the protesters are, you know, holding signs that have quotes from the founding fathers or even dressed up as the founding fathers, because for years the founding fathers were maligned as these vicious white racists, and now it's no, we're gonna take them back. We're reclaiming the founding fathers for our side. We're on the right side of history with those evil white slave owners. And I don't know, I guess the only interpretation of that I can come up with is that these are people who do actually want to feel patriotic, who do want to feel proud of their country, and that they belong to a coherent nation and not just a strip mall. And again, this is the only way they feel that they can do it. So let's watch one more video. This is a topless woman holding a Free Luigi Jail Trump sign. Now, I have to tell you that I am fairly confident that I met this woman back at the Women's March in, what was it, February in DC. And I don't recall her having the Jail Trump part of the sign under there. Maybe I missed it, but I just remember it as Free Luigi. And back in February, it was a bit colder. She was more buttoned up. But now I guess she's enjoying the last of the summer weather.
Whoa!
Okay, taking a cue from the French. I love the. Wait, sorry. I just noticed this other sign. If all the trans folks and socialists, something Antifa, just tell me where I can sign up. And it's a woman in a pineapple costume. Okay. Okay, so we all know that this naked lady is ridiculous, but I think that this pineapple sign is almost more interesting because, again, this entire protest is cloaked in kind of like silliness on purpose, and oh, we're just having fun, and that's how we resist Trump, as we dance and we sing and we have community. But the undercurrent is very dark because I think that the majority of these people, even if they're not calling for violence themselves, are condoning it in certain ways, are comfortable with organizations like Antifa, which I guess they want to claim is decentralized and not a real thing. It doesn't really exist. It's just an idea. But they're comfortable with a certain level of violence. And you have the Antifa sign and you have this lady's sign too. Free Luigi, jail Trump. Well, Luigi murdered someone, allegedly. He allegedly murdered someone pretty coldly too. As far as I know, Trump has never done that. He's certainly not on video doing that. So I think the message of the sign is basically free people who like nominally align with my political values. Luigi was not a far leftist by any means, I don't think, if you read, the writing that's attributed to him, but he's been claimed by the left. And jail people who don't align with me, regardless of the crimes or, non-crimes that they've committed. So this whole thing is, again, a very dark undercurrent. But let me know what you think of the protests. Let me know what the scene was like if you were there. And should you have to get a license to protest topless? Should we have to have some sort of bureaucracy which evaluates these people and says, okay, you're allowed to protest topless and you're not? And that's just an idea, but let me know if you would support that. Give this video a like, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.